Hello everyone and welcome back to the Sew Granny Sew channel. My name is Melissa and I am really excited to get started on this. We've all seen them cute little bug jar quilts. So I've been collecting some bug fabric for quite a while now. I got my first sets in and they had three of each, like a four print that were 5 by 9, 5.5 by 9. The last one fabric I purchased a yard of each. There's one, there's the other, and then that one before it, and I cut them on accident 5 by 9. So we're going to make do with what we got for the fabrics. I do have 3 sets of them, so we're going to have plenty of fabric to practice with. So we're going to set 2 sets aside. We do have the one left. We are also going to need some gray for the lids of the jars, and then your background, whatever color you want it. I'm just going to do the near background in these blocks. So we're just going to do it in white. We might put it on a bookcase or whatever. Here I'm just showing you that it is a little bit shorter than the other ones. So we are going to get started with cutting our strips that we need for our lids and then the background fabric. So we're going to do one strip of this. First, we got to get that straight edge. One strip of this at 3 inches wide. And then we'll set that one aside. And then we're going to need 2 strips of this at 2.5 inches wide. Now, the background in the lid is going to go according to your jar size. So of course, the bigger that is, the bigger you'll want your strip set. And we'll get to that as we do the strip set, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and get the strip sets cut. I'm also going to cut some little squares, and you'll see what those are for when I return. So we have all of our fabrics cut. I'm going to show you here at the top of the jar, the bottom of the jar, they round out like that. So it's not the size of the lid. But as you can see on this one, we got a 5 by 9 inch square. And I did cut these at originally 2 at 1.5 and 2 at 2.5. We do cut these down. But the strip sets will stay at 2.5 inches, and then that one will stay at 3 inches. So we're going to go ahead and I'll show you how we're going to put our strip set together. So we are just going to line up that outside edge, making sure right sides are together, and we're going to clip that in place here. I know this is the boring part, but I wanted to walk you through to get to the important part of it. And then the other side, well, let me grab that other strip there. We're going to put that on the other side just as we did this one. We'll put right sides together. And when we sew, we're going to sew up one way and down the other, and that helps it so it doesn't warp as you're sewing the big long strips. So just a little helpful hint there. Make sure you go opposite directions when you sew continuous. And to get that to lay down, you might want to use that Miss Mary Ellen's Best Press or something similar, some kind of starch to make it lay flat. So we have our little squares cut right there, as you can see. And I did, like I said, had to cut them down to 1.5 to get it to line up from that jar. So they're no longer the 1.5 and 2.5. They're all 1.5. So you're just going to take your pencil and you're going to draw that diagonal line on there so you know where to stitch at. And we'll do that to all 4 of them. And then we're going to lay them down onto the big block of fabric we're working with. And you're going to make sure the diagonals point, the bottom of the line is at the bottom of the jar, and then they point upward. And the same with the top. You want them to point from the top downward. So once you get them all laid on there in the right direction, you're going to go ahead and pin those into place. You can pin on both sides of the lines if you want to. I had already done this part of the quilt block, and of course it didn't record, so this is just redoing it here. And then once you have them all pinned into place, sorry, the OCD was going off here. Then we're going to take it to the sewing machine. Yeah, I'm just showing you there. Make sure your outside edges are lined up. And this is what you can do with it. Put 2 of them in. Anyways, we'll bring that to the sewing machine and we'll just stitch right on those lines of all four corners. So I'll get that done and I'll meet you back here. So all four corners are sewn on now. So now we have to trim up the excess of that. So we're going to take our ruler and find our 1/4 inch marking, and we're going to line that up with the seam that we just put in there. And then we'll trim off the excess. So you'll have a 1/4 inch seam left there once you're done. And you'll do that to all four corners. Now that we have those trimmed up, we're going to bring that to the ironing board and we're going to iron those all flat. And as you can see, it's all ironed flat. And I did open the seams to iron those flat as well. So now you can see that our top strip set piece, I just cut like a 1.5 inch section. Um, and it's a little bit wider than by 1 inch on each side. You can fill in a 1 inch strip on each side if you want to keep that size, or you can cut down that top strip set. So I want to make all different size jars in my quilt top. So we're going to leave it like that and we'll just trim it down once we get it sewn on. So to find where to line that up, we're going to fold each piece in half and we'll press that into it. Then we know exactly where it's at and we'll line those up, those creases, and we'll pin that into place. And we'll just pin it in all the way along. When you pin that in, you do want to make sure, because you got two seams there, they're not going to line up. They're not going to sit in the same spot. But you do want to make sure, however you press them, whether it be to the left, the right, or open, you do want to make sure that they are laying in that way. And that's why I'm putting these extra pins on the side here, to make sure my seams stay laying flat when I run it through the sewing machine. So I'll get that sewn up with a 1/4 inch seam. I'll iron that open, and then we'll come back, we'll trim that up, and we'll be ready to move on. So to trim this up, you can see I'm a little off there on the lid, so it's something we can work on. You can see how it does go out, and the lid is skinnier than the outside of the jar, so we do want it in like that, but I was off balance. For some reason, the sewing machine pulled it one way or the other, so I had a bigger extra on one side than I did on the other. So we're just going to lay our ruler on there, and we're going to trim up those leftover white pieces at the top with the lid. So that is what that jar looks like there. It turned out fairly well, I thought, for a first time of ever making it. So now we're going to try another block in a different size. As I said, I want all different size blocks in mine. So you can do it however you want. But we're going to try a second one. I'll get it sewn up and I'll come back and I'll give you the measurements and we'll see how it turns out. You can stack them on top of each other. You can lay one down. You can tilt one to make it kitty wampus. So I'll get one done and I'll meet you back here to show you the results. Okay, so I have the base of the second one done, and as you can see, it was 5 by 6 is the measurements I did on the block. But as you can see, if you wanted to go upright, you can. The lid was a little bit big, but if you laid the jar down like that and put the lid on, it kind of looks like a perfume bottle at this point. But it also works that way, just a little bit of a short and rounder jar. So however you want to do it, you can put it upright, you can lay it sideways, and like I said, you can even tilt them if you want, and just do triangles on the corner. So we're going to go ahead and sew that piece onto the base and trim it up so it's the same size all the way up and down. We're going to sew it just like that. So I'll get that done and I'll meet you back here. So we have both the blocks done now, as you can see. Like I said, it looks like a perfume bottle, but if you did a whole bunch of, stacked on top of each other, laying down, going kitty corner, you could actually make it just look like it was falling, just like that, like it was falling off of a stack of them, or however you want. And then they just add triangles of the background fabric in there to make it look like it's supposed to be that way. So I think overall it looks really cute. For first effort, I thought we did really good. So don't be afraid to try these and do your own thing. You can make them all one size or make them vary size all the way throughout. The bonus to this is once you get your strip set done and your little blocks cut out, you can bebop into your sewing room in between doing other things and just sew up a jar, set it aside, and so then just keep working on them until you get enough to make a quilt. Such a fun way to use up all those scraps. As always, guys, if you found this video useful, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. It really helps our channel grow. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because we'd love to have you here at Soul Granny So. Thanks, all. Have a great day. Bye.